This is an older painting I have that I just did the background and played with blending the color, similar to this, which I did in the atmospheric landscape course. So I don't like how this edge looks, so how about if I got a better idea of what this might look like, just like that. I really like that sky. But what if I wanted to add boats to this, or maybe some land coming down? The boats would look nice there, but how about if I create a nice silhouette there? I'm going to clean off my brushes. So what I'm doing is multi-purposing an old piece of paper, and let's think about where our land will be. We'll put some land back here, let that dry, and then some foreground right there. I like the sky as is. I really like the sky. So let's think about putting in a lighter value here for some land. And since it's been a long time and I don't really remember the colors that I used, I'm just going to take some water, bring it into the palette, a little French ultramarine blue, a little quinacridone magenta. I could take a tiny bit of burnt sienna to tone it down a little bit. And let's put a landmass back here. I don't want to use the 20 because that's going to be big, and I want to use a light value just to give a suggestion of this. I'm going to turn it around just like we did in the waves and water course, and I'm going to use the belly of the brush to create, I'm going to get rid of some of that water, to create that little landmass. I'd like to grab more of the tooth of the paper, but this paper doesn't really have a lot of tooth to it. I'm going to bring it down a little bit more, trying to. Let's take a look at that. That could come out a little bit further. Let's bring it out to about there. Light value. Take a look at that. That's okay. I like those little edges through here. And then let's get one more into the foreground. I'm going to darken the value. That needs to dry. We're going to start about here, bring it down to about there. Turn it around so I can grab the tooth of the paper in a darker value. Let's take a look at it this way. I could go a little darker through here. Now this could give the impression of a shoreline. Let's drop in a little more color so it works with that sky. I think that's a little too jagged. Now it looks a little too flat. I think I'll use the number 8. Okay, just a little bit. Just like that. Then take that number 30 because I don't want that to just look like it's stuck on there, and then I'll soften the edge of color. Now we did this in the waves and water course. So that has a nice silhouette there. I could go darker. We've got our light value in the background. This is still a tiny bit damp, and then using the same idea of these boats, I think if I go this big, it's going to be too big. And that should be farther off. So let's see how we're going to make this work. They're going to be smaller, so I'm just going to work with a line and drop it in. I could use a smaller brush. Think about that bow or the the hull at a slight angle, and the same thing, slight angle over here. And I could put another boat in there if I wanted to. That's something that you can do. So I'm going to use a piece of watercolor paper. Want a nice straight edge. Let's think about how high we want it to be. About here. Do the same thing. Just like that. Then put a mat on it. I could soften that bottom so it doesn't stand out too much. Just a tiny bit. And we can call that done.